Welcome to another tech tip from D-Lab Electronics. Here we go. Saturday night at D-Lab, and what am I doing besides finishing that glass of wine? Well, I'm working on a Johnson transmitter. This time we have a Valiant that has no grid current, and I think I know what's going on. Let's take a look. Well, the operator told me that the Valiant was working fine, and all of a sudden he lost grid, and at the same time he could not hear the Valiant spotting into his receiver. So I thought, aha, must be a bad VFO. So here we are in VFO position. Okay, we're on grid. Now if we go over here to buffer, you can see that I have buffer current, but when I go to grid I have nothing. Okay, now I put in a crystal. Instead of the VFO, we'll switch over to crystal position, and look, immediately I have grid current. So they obviously have a problem with the VFO. Let's take a look. Well, I pop the cover off the VFO. Right off the bat, you can see that the voltage regulator tube is on, and so is the little 6AU6 tube. But upon further inspection, I discovered another issue, and I believe this is the problem with the VFO. Let me show you. I've jammed my camera in here so you guys can see what I see. So there is the 18K resistor, which they call the Chernobyl resistor. It's been replaced. But over here is a 470 ohm resistor. And when I inspected it, I can see a crack from there to there. So I believe this resistor has failed, actually broken in two. I'll throw a meter on it and check it, but I believe that's the problem. Alright, so I know this is impossible to see. I'm down here in a hole, but as you can see across the 470 ohm resistor it's open. Now I noticed when I was kind of playing around with the VFO, intermittently I'd hear this funny buzzing noise. So if I get in here, kind of push on the resistor a little bit, you see there? I can actually get that resistor to try and conduct. So more than likely, that was the funny buzzing noise I was hearing, was this resistor was so close because of the little crack in it, it was actually trying to work. I did check the 6AU6 tube that was in here, and it was extremely low on emissions. So I have already put in a new 6AU6, and now we're going to change that resistor. So obviously it's going to be quite the task. This terminal board is in here quite a ways, but at least I can see the resistor. Best way to replace it would be remove the entire VFO cage, possibly pull the front panel so you can get access, but I think that I can get in here with a pair of tweezers, pluck that guy out and get the new one in. It's going to be very difficult for me to show you this on video, so I'm just going to do it and we'll cut back and then we'll retest. I got the new resistor installed, so let's get this guy back upright and give that VFO a test and hopefully not see any smoke come out of it. Here we go, initial test. We'll start out in the crystal position, because we know that worked before. We're in buffer. Here it comes. Grid. There's my grid, which I can vary with the drive. So that's cool. Now let's switch over to our VFO. There he is. There's my grid. Didn't have that before. So the VFO is working. So that's very cool. I just switched over to AM mode. Bring up my drive. There's CW. VFO off. Fixed! And no smoke! Alright, so the VFO is good. Now I'm going to just do a quick tune-up, make sure everything's cool. Here's my grid. You see I'm only putting out about 70 watts. Dip the final. So we're a little bit low on power. I can probably bring up coupling a little bit, you can see the power coming up. But more than likely, this thing needs some neutralization work, but at least it's transmitting. So the VFO repair was a success. So what did we learn from this repair video? If you all of a sudden lose grid drive on your Valiant or even a Ranger, because they share that same VFO circuitry, it may not necessarily just be a tube failure. Yeah, maybe the tube in the VFO did fail and popped the resistor, but if you just got in there and put in a new tube, guess what? You didn't fix the problem, okay? So the best way to narrow it down is through a process of elimination, okay? Pop in a crystal, see if the transmitter works. Then you know for sure it's the VFO. And take a good look in there, because in this case, it was pretty obvious that that resistor had failed. Cracked right down the center, probably from an overcurrent condition. So I really do enjoy sharing these repair videos with all of you. I'm trying to keep that knowledge base alive, trying to propagate it, because I know that someday when we're gone and we're not fixing them, these poor things are going to be in the dump and forgotten. Let's try not to let that happen. We'll see you. D-Lab.